ready yet.
We don't know what we're doing. We're not ready. And
that is the anthem of the Ham Talk show.
I'm going to hiccup here because I've got to switch my connection.
okay.
Oh, crap. I've got to close Outlook because anything that comes in will chime in the middle.
Bing, 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 bing.
Well, while she's doing that, since we're recording, here are some outtakes for you guys, because you need to know the crazy stuff that goes on when we're recording, but you don't get to see it ahead of time. So I'm sitting here while I'm waiting for them all to get their stuff together in my Baby Yoda shirt. And yes, it's Baby Yoda. Forget that Grogu crap. And I'm sorting my Magic the Gathering cards. So that'll tell you just how much of a geek I am. I also do Dungeons and Dragons. And yes, I am a DM. So if you guys want to get hooked up on that, just drop Melissa a comment and ask her some questions about it. See how many rounds I can go?
Yeah. Well, we lost Andrea, so we got to wait for her to return.
Because we're still going to have outtakes. Look, I can spank the planet right now and make what this is. I don't know what kind of glitch this is, but this is awesome because it looks like a solar storm hit the earth right here. This is awesome. So you're going to notice that there's some activity in this general vicinity right here.
All right, Miss Andrea is almost back.
Andrea,
you see her name.
Andrea, you know how much crap we just did because you weren't here, so we had to have some outtakes for Greg to share at the end of the year. I don't think she made it.
Andrea, where is Andrea? I don't see her.
Well, I'm going to go back to sorting my Magic cards. And just in case any of you are curious about that whole Magic thing, I like the white best. That's my favorite color. And I think that they did it a disservice for decades until they pumped some power into white. So that's just my opinion. My Ham Talk.
We lost Andrea again.
What are you talking about? Of course we lost Andrea. She's going to be our, and I thought it was going to be me.
And Andrea's back. I know. I thought it would be you.
I really did. I thought it was going to be me and my internet connection.
What'll happen as soon as we start the actual show, it'll go away.
It'll be fine and I'll be fun.
Like, when was Magic the Gathering? Back in the 90s?
It is still going on. They just released a new set like a week and a half ago.
All right. We now have Andrea. Andrea's in the house. Well, that's a little weird when you
I think record.
Ooh, it's invisible.
You think what?
Look,
I don't know. I think you recording here is making my connection not right as I'm trying to log in here.
Oh, sorry.
Recording and you're here.
Hi, Andrea.
Hi.
I told you, ruffler. Not a little bit. Totally unfazed.
My normal connection's not working, and well, I usually have to go on my phone, but this is.
Bill. Before we start, I'm going to interrupt for station identification. Ruth and I are proud to announce and share our 5th grandbaby. Woo! And stuff. He was born about 6.5, 7 weeks and he just had the feeding tube removed. So that means he'll be able to go home. But that's Theodore. And that's grandbaby number 5.
Mm.
So the
I
real
will-
identification. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this month's edition of Ham Talk, of course, sponsored by Hamsters Week Signal Group. And I had to get that in before Greg decided he needed to talk more.
Okay.
All right, Greg, go ahead. Be the proud grandpapa.
Well, I did that already. Now you can move on.
Do all of it. You know, you want to talk about how wonderful he is and how much you and Ruth
I haven't
adore.
seen him yet.
You don't care. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
I'm hoping and have high hopes that he'll come home this weekend and we will finally get to go and meet up with him. But I do have some fun stories for you.
Uh-oh.
As some of you are aware, the stress level for Ruth and I has been off the charts for the last 6-7 weeks and everything. Well, in front of our house, we cleared out of all of our land. We had to build our house 200 feet from the property line of our neighbor. We cleared all the way up to it. We found a deer blind, which was straddling the property line. No problem. We asked him to move it. He said, "I'm afraid of it." I'm like, "Why are you afraid of it?" And he goes, "Because that." That's 40-year-old dynamite. Just over 40 pounds was in that deer blind, enough to completely level our house. And the bomb squad and ATF said that it had about 1,000-foot blast radius. Our house was right at 212 feet from this. So for a while, we've been a little bit of a nervous wreck. So finally, Saturday, we were joined by the fire department and the EMS and the sheriff and the bomb squad from San Antonio and the ATF. So that got a little bit interesting for us and stuff. And I'm missing a picture. How did that happen? Anyway, I'll bring that up here. This is when everybody was there and they'd started the burn and stuff. So we started looking at that, and they burned the dynamite off and it didn't explode. So we were quite happy people. And there's the remains of the dynamite, just a burn mark in the ground. But let me find something here.
Greg, you know you missed part of the alphabet soup there, and who definitely should have been involved with that many alphabets.
There is. I'm trying to find that picture was supposed to have been there. So I am.
Otherwise, I will be severely disappointed in you.
All right. Well, here is another one. I'm going to tell you, in my entire 65 years of life, I never thought I'd be the neighbor with a cabin in the woods surrounded by the ATF. I'm sorry, just never thought that would be me. So anyway, I had about 14 ATF agents surrounding everything. And they dealt with it. But I'm going to tell you, they were the friendliest, most professional people on earth. And I was never so glad in my life to see the ATF come raiding my cabin area. So anyway, it's over. Our stress level's gone. Our house did not blow up. Life is good. I can't ask for many things more. So that's kind of where we're at.
Well, that makes my week sound really, really calm. Anybody else can top Greg here? Because all of them
no,
sound really calm after that.
I don't think so. No.
Uh-uh.
I win.
But Greg, the alphabet that I'm upset you didn't have there is your EMA, because when you start getting state and feds, you're supposed to have your EMA involved.
Yeah. You know, all I was wanting was the dynamite burn, because the first group that came up, they were going to just blow it up. And had they blown it up, I would have lost 9 years of blood, sweat, and tears building our house. And, you know, I'm done other than the cosmetic trim. And the sad part is we've been trying for 6 months to get insurance before we knew there was dynamite there. But because we built it ourselves, the house has to be 100% complete and inspected before they'll insure it. So we're kind of screwed if that had gone. But it all worked out. So I'm happy.
All right, Miss Melissa, any updates from you?
Oh, I don't know. Just like last month, I got nothing. No, nothing important. Nothing important.
I have hope she learns how to squeeze a microphone.
Just keeping myself busy with life.
And creating backgrounds so that we can fool Andrea.
Yeah. No, I was thinking about Greg's place, that, yeah, all these years creating this place so that they can be completely off grid. And, you know, there's some privacy there that he no longer has because of the amount of people that have been out there. So
yeah, I think you're going to be pretty well known at this point, Greg.
yeah.
I don't care about that. You know, when we go off grid, we're doing it a little bit different. We're doing it to be cheap. I want to spend all my retirement money traveling to Europe and Rome and things like that. I don't want to be spending it on electric bills, water bills, gas bills, and all that. So we made our entire home 100% self-efficient. The house is 100% solar powered with all air conditioning. Nobody would ever know that we're off grid. We've got full air conditioning, heating, cooling, water, everything. And it's 100% good to go. And the only utility bill I have is we do bring propane in for the kitchen stove and the water heater. And it's been 3 years of use and we haven't even used 5% of the tank capacity yet. So, you know, that should be pretty economical too.
So now let me finally get to ask Andrea, how about you?
How about me? Let's see. Does it ever switch to me?
It does.
It did. Okay. This is Brownie, who apparently wants to be here today.
Aww.
And not much going on. It's just very, very busy. I'm going on I guess the big thing is tomorrow I go on a road trip up to New Jersey from Texas, including Brownie here is going to come with me. She's not going to be happy about that, but she doesn't know it yet.
So let me ask you a question, Andrea. Have you broken any ribs, bones, butt, cheek?
Greg.
Oh, you know, the other night while I was sleeping, I apparently screwed up my knee.
I rest my case.
I don't know how I did that. It hurt more than any of my knees ever hurt.
You're spanking the earth again. She's got Sam is so high energy, she's created her own aurora.
I have. I'm sorry. I think I got a little bit of fun news and fun things that I was able to do since our last show. So I'm going to share those now so I can stop entertaining myself spanking the earth. All right. I have a new deputy director at Camden County Emergency Management Agency. He is a dream. His name is William Gregory. He's amazing. And one of the things we found out that we both enjoy Star Wars. Like I said, Baby Yoda, not Grogu. Anyway, so I told him on Casual Friday that we were going to each wear our best Star Wars shirt, and then we were going to turn it out on Facebook for votes to see which one of us got more votes. You know, I get the heart emoji and he gets the thumbs up. And I was in the lead all the way up to the next morning. And then all of a sudden he went blowing by me. So I wore this shirt and he wore one that had the little Darth Vader helmet on it and said, "Best dad in the galaxy." I love the irony there. It's beautiful. It's just so now that he has officially won, I have to come up with some awesome prize or awesome thing for him. And of course, it's going to have to be Star Wars related. But that was just one of the things. And then today, the reason why I'm coming to you from beautiful outer space, other than the fact that it goes with my Star Wars theme here, is that I'm actually shooting from home, which doesn't happen very often. Usually I'm at my shop, usually at the office. But I was up in Boone County, Missouri today at the Emergency Management Agency up there. And I want to share something I found out with all of our fans and people who watch the show, that the Boone County, Missouri Emergency Management Agency has an entire section of ham radio operators. They have been in effect since right after the Vietnam War. So they have been for a very long time, probably not the same people. We're probably cycling a little bit, or maybe it could be the same people. Yeah. But I was very excited to learn that there are even more EMAs that I didn't even know were welcoming, not just welcoming to ham radio operators, but encouraged it. So I thought that would be a nice share for everybody. And that's my part for the warm-up section.
Well, that's pretty cool. It's nice to see that ham radio is working and presenting and stuff there. So it's always good to keep that going.
So we've got a couple of things this month for you guys. I know some of you tune in just to hear our babble back. I'm sure we'll break out some dad jokes at some point, or I'm sure Andrea will break out part of her stand-up routine or something. It always happens, never fails. But we'll get to that. This month, we've got a couple of things. I know that Andrea has got an interview that she has done. And I know that Greg has, I believe, got an interview that
Now I've got a segment asked by viewers and everything on the Facebook page if I would do a short section on entry-level radios for people to get into single sideband weak signal operating. So I'll be covering that this month.
Awesome. And then Melissa says she doesn't think we have too many questions, but Greg wants to cover a couple of your questions that we answered on the YouTube page, but we want to go ahead and put it on the video as well. And for our longtime fan, we still have not received your hamshack pictures, so you need to get those in. All right, and go ahead, Melissa, with whatever question we have sitting there.
We have none.
You know what I like about Melissa? She's forthright.
We'll do is make up some answers.
Didn't you have an interview as well?
I was supposed to interview Ruth, but we were like ships in the night the last month.
Okay.
And it has been nonstop here in Missouri. If you guys don't know, just Cooper County, Missouri Spire took all kinds of video and craziness of stuff going on. Plus I've been in training classes. So anyway.
Yeah. And on top of that, Ruth's been a little occupied with dynamite blowing her house up.
Yeah.
That too. And she doesn't necessarily like to be the ham that we like to be and get on these videos. So I'll see if I can get her to come around, even if it's a voice interview and we throw a picture of the Aries sign up or something. But she's got a lot of knowledge, and I think that it would be great to have her share that. All right, so let's do Andrea's part first. That way the king of talk can have the entire end of the segment and for this month.
Wow.
Okay, well, for this month, I have an exclusive interview with Amanda Alden, K1DDN of Ham Nation. She has generously come on our show. She says this is the first time she's ever been interviewed, and it was a real pleasure talking with her. And so let's go to that interview right now. Today, I am with Amanda, K1DDN, host and co-producer of one of the premier ham radio talk shows, Ham Nation. Hey, Amanda, it appears the show was on the other foot today. Welcome to Ham Talk.
Well, thank you so much, Andrea. It's crazy to hear. I have never been interviewed before, so thanks for asking me to be here. And hello, all the Ham Talk viewers out there. Hopefully you're enjoying the show so far.
Well, thank you for coming on, and I'm glad to be the first one to get an opportunity to interview you. So I guess we'll start at the beginning. How did you get into ham radio?
Oh, interesting question. Glad you asked it. So my husband and his best friend studied in our 250 square foot apartment, which cost us about $250 a month back in 2007. And they studied every night, and I would make them dinner and they would get it. And the questions ingrained in me at that point in time, but I didn't get licensed until 2009 because I really didn't care about ham radio. And my husband finally told me, I'm not even sure you could actually pass this test. So you should probably not even think about it. So of course, girl challenge there, I had to do it. So I did. And I did it for only any other reason except for to maybe talk to him on the local repeaters and to just have back communications when we're out, maybe boating, things like that. And come to find out, I really enjoyed listening to him do HF at the same time. And I really loved seeing his QSL cards. So then I upgraded to general. And then I went even further because then I heard DX and I wanted to find more DX. So then I upgraded to extra. I think it was in 2013. And in fact, little note there, I passed and my husband failed at the same time. So he had to take his test twice. Thank you very much.
Oh, there you go. You showed him up on a challenge. But I imagine it's kind of like he suckered you into it. You beat him, but then you got to think like, hey, he kind of won anyway.
He did. He completely won the challenge. And now we have more expensive equipment, more things. The first time I got on HF and I couldn't break through a pileup, I said, we're getting one of those amplifiers you talk about. So yes, he has been on the winning side of this for a very, very long time.
But it's working for you too.
Oh, absolutely. It's crazy how much things I have picked up and enjoyed along the way. So first, you start on your local repeaters, maybe some simplex, things like that. Andrew, you got a little bit of 6 meter and 10 meter privileges that you might take advantage of if you have a rig. We did because my husband was already a general at the time. And you get into that and then you progress. It's really what you do. And once you join a club and things like that, you learn more or go to field day and learn more about some of those operations. I would like to do that. What is this digital mode they're running right now? I would love to do that. FT8, what's that? And you just learn. So it's a crazy aspect of amateur radio is that you never just stop. Some people might just do satellites. Yes, sure. But you never just stop at that. It's a very progressive hobby as far as I'm concerned. And it's taken me all kinds of places. I never wanted to do MCOM, never. And my husband got a call one day after a field day. And it was in 2012, I believe. And there was a fire that had scorched about 400 homes north of us and outside of Colorado Springs. And he said he would go. He said, you're going too. I said, I am not going. I said, you're going. So I did go and was very successful in helping with wildfires as well. And it's been kind of my passion. And I think that's kind of a dark secret. I don't talk a lot about my Aries and MCOM stuff on my show a lot. Just because, it's only one aspect of it. And I should probably talk about it a bit more. But that was a great passion of mine, and it still is, obviously. But now I do it more for public service. So I'd like to support the parades and 5Ks, 10Ks going around, those kind of things. I coordinate, get the volunteers, and have fun with it.
And when you're doing the communication on those kind of events, when you say public service, do you get into the organization side of those events at all? Or is it just strictly helping with communications?
Oh, absolutely. So you have to have both if you want to have a successful event. So the organizations need to know where you're coming from and what you need. And if you don't have those talks, they're just going to put you out in a field somewhere or out on a mountainside and say, we need you to call in and let us know what's going on. But they don't think about if we can actually do it from that spot, that location. And they also don't think about sometimes our volunteers' capabilities of getting to some of those remote locations. So it's always great to coordinate. And, I also do it on the actual public safety side with my incident management team and the emergency operations center here. Our emergency manager in this county is also a ham, so very ham friendly. And we have a whole radio room set up.
That's really cool. I had not known that you got into any of the emergency communications, and it definitely does sound like a passion. Any other aspects of the hobby that you are very passionate about?
Oh boy. Yes. I'm a printer, so I love anything printed sent to me. So I love receiving QSL cards. I know it's so archaic, everybody. I know. And postage is so expensive, but I save every single QSL card I have, and I will forever. And my husband and I don't have any children, so unfortunately my sister or somebody else is going to receive those. There you go. Nice looking QSL card there.
Yeah, I don't know if I know we've worked. I don't know if I've sent you this particular one.
I don't know if I have the rover. That's Ginny's drawing,
Yes.
isn't it? Okay. Yeah, I don't think I have that, but anywhere in my house, I swear you can look around and there might be a pile of QSL cards. And Jeff, my husband, he is very welcome for this fact that I fill out his as well and send them out. So that's one aspect that people didn't know. But the other, anyone want to know if you want dirty secrets, it's that I cuss a lot, and I don't cuss on air. It's after I unkey that I cuss. So dirty secret about Amanda that nobody else knew.
Good to know. And a smart way to do it. So let's move on to something else. Your call sign.
Oh yeah.
K1 call sign. And I know you're in Colorado. So is there a story behind that?
There absolutely is. And I get asked this a lot. Why the one call? You from New England? No, I am not. Colorado, well, the FCC issued me KD0 HIV as my call sign. Which to me, obviously, just getting into that hobby, my husband really wanted me to talk on the radio. Absolutely not ever using that call sign. So he said, well, you can get a vanity. But of course, at the time, you test on these things, right? When you first get started, but I'm kind of a hands-on person. And I didn't realize the regional, of course you can have a number anywhere in any region, but it is kind of recommended if you're 0 call, you should be in the Colorado, Nebraska, Minnesota land kind of thing. But I'm always kidding around. I am such a jokester. So I went with K1DDN because I'm kidding all the time. So I changed it right away, and I never talked on the radio until I got my vanity. So.
And with the challenge that was set forth to learn and get your license and then go, what kind of resources, how did you learn? Did you have any sort of technical background at all, or is this all new to you?
No, I'm a pretty simple girl. I didn't have any kind of exploratory STEM kind of teaching in high school, things like that. No electronics, except for knowing that if you spray glass cleaner on your CRT TV while it's on, you will get shocked to death or hurt near. Those kind of things. So you learn those things, but no, I had nothing. Everything I have learned from going out and visiting with people or operating and things like that. And in fact, even contesting, who has the greatness to do contesting, who can be that fast to pick up all those call signs and just keep putting them in the logs. I just picked it up, sat next to somebody else, put on the headphones and listened to them work those people. And same with the MCOM stuff. If you listen to public safety enough, you just pick it up. So you just pick up the terminology and it helps you through, which is, a little bit different speak than actual ham radio. And when they asked me to come out on a search and rescue mission to cover radios for them, you have to have that kind of stuff in there. You do the time stamping and things like that. So I've just picked everything up and it's crazy.
Okay, that obviously works. And I would agree the same thing when it comes to operating, how to operate a contest. Be with somebody that's operating a contest, be it whether you're invited to a multi-op or field day is always a big opportunity to learn that. And that would really be how I got my feet wet in contesting through field day. And when I was very young when I was licensed, and they let me actually have a key and operate some field day. At that time, I had a novice license, could only do Morse code. So as you've been licensed here, are there any golly gee moments or things that have occurred that you're like, wow?
So golly gee that's a really nice word. I would say there's more WTF statements. Your power supply doesn't turn on. The SWR is just going crazy. It's 5 minutes before noon on field day and you got nothing. No audio, no network connectivity during field day. That's another one. Just crazy stuff. All of a sudden you just expect to go into your shack and you want to sit down and you saw on Twitter that the expedition is on and you're, I'm going to go too. And nothing, those are the moments that drive me the craziest. And thank goodness we're a partnership here. So we can work some stuff out together and one can be in here looking like, it's no change. Which just to come to find out, it's usually the dumbest things such as like patch cables and such. So, you had those, Andrea, you're driving down a freaking road and your Explorer caught on fire. So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that one time.
Well, maybe not literally. I'm sorry.
No, you brought up a good point. I had Rhea N2RJ in the car. We just operated a 6-meter sprint. And we had plugged in a router for her Flex radio in the car using a very small cable to the main 12-volt source. Didn't have a fuse on that line. We got all through the contest and we were literally just parking when smoke started billowing out in the back. And it was that cable had shorted, and without a fuse, the battery was just pushing all through it. So
oh my gosh.
I reached into the back seat from the front, yanked the main cable, and that was the end of it. But lesson learned, put small fuses in those small wires when your source is something like the battery.
And we just went out. I love doing it. Oh, that's another thing. Some people don't know this about me. I love going camper portable. So we love just throwing up a G5 RV in the trees. And this last summer, our power supply just kept blowing 8 amp fuses, just bam, gone. Our power supply would be dead. So obviously we have booted that, but still nothing more disturbing than you're 100 miles away from home and that was your only power supply. So, and you ran out of fuses. Those kind of things. Those are the WTF moments that you have in your life. So, or other people, I guess, would like to call them letting the smoke out.
Definitely. I think we've all had some of those.
I think so.
And let's see. I think we're kind of coming to the end of our time here. So let me ask
Absolutely.
one more question, which is, well, I got two questions. So
Okay.
one is, how did you've been licensed and you've had your extra now for roughly 10 years. It sounds like extra and licensed a little bit longer. How did you get to being on Ham Nation?
Oh, great question. So I had wrote a long time ago. I think it was back in 2011. I had wrote kind of an op-ed and put it on eHam, and it's no longer available, so no one's going to be able to read it. But Bob Pyle read it and absolutely loved it and thought, this is the young blood that we need on our show. Now I'm no longer young, right? But he said, we need this person on Ham Nation to come join us and give us a fresh perspective and tell us what she's doing in ham radio. And let's let everybody know that it's not just this genre or this kind of group. And which was great. And it was well received, and we've had fun ever since. So, and then Bob, he has gotten, after COVID, he has gotten to a point where he's more requested via visiting clubs on Zoom, and that's now his passion. So he said he didn't have time to produce this show anymore, run it, and get all the guests on. And he said, I just need someone else to help me. Will you help me? And I said, yes. So I took over the show. I think it was in end of 2020, and Ham Radio Crash Course, excuse me, started producing it for us after that, because Twit, This Week in Tech, decided to cut the show. So it was handed over to Josh, KI6 and AZ. If I got your call sign wrong, Josh, I apologize. But anyhow, it's been fantastic. We're now bi-weekly, which is really excellent. No longer every single Wednesday. So we're having fun still. We're doing it.
Okay. So for the viewers watching this video here, where can they find the show? When is it? What days
okay.
and
So
what time?
it's every other Wednesday. So it's going to be next Wednesday, and it starts at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 Central, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. I can do that in the right order. And you can find it on YouTube, but you have to look at Ham Radio Crash Course and you'll see the Ham Nation show pop up. So that's how you see it. Just subscribe and you'll just get a notice that it's starting, that kind of thing, or follow us on Facebook. So that's where we get half of our information anyways these days. So.
All right. Thank you. And final question, what advice would you give to beginners in the hobby?
Oh my goodness. Find the right club. Find the right club. And there are bad clubs out there, but we're trying to change that, especially me as a section manager now and here in Colorado, a definite goal. But get the right club, get the right mentors, and go visit. When somebody invites you over to see their shack, they're not being weird or creepy. Just go see it and see how they've set things up, see what their antenna situation is, what works for them, what doesn't work for them. Learn your antennas if you're getting into HF. That's another, a lot of people just want to go with the verticals real quick on the roof, things like that. Learn what's going to be best for you and what bands you actually want to work, which takes going to things like field day where you find out what you actually find fun, because we don't want you to invest in a lot of money that you're not going to be happy about. So our most important goal for everybody getting into the hobby, have the right equipment, have fun with it, meet lots of great people, and use it to its full purpose. And whether that be, I got licensed because I want to be here for the end of the world apocalypse and to protect my family and make sure they get home at the end of the day, or if it's, I want to talk around the world. These are the things you still have to do, the same things, get with some other people and learn, because the textbooks don't teach you a quarter of what you need to know. So that's my last and final advice, Andrea. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Amanda, thank you so much for coming on the show. This is Kilo 2 Echo Zulu, roving reporter, Ham Talk.
Okay. That was a pretty good interview. I enjoyed it, and really want to thank Amanda for joining us this month. That was pretty nice. We'll have to talk her into coming in live sometime and stuff. See if she can fit in with the sanity around here. On that, I'll jump over to my segment now. We're going to go ahead and cover entry-level radios and affordable radios that you can get for now you sidetracked me and I lost my train of thought. We're going to go ahead and go into entry-level radios and some economical ways to get on single sideband weak signal operating. So let's roll that wonderful beam footage. The world of VHF and UHF is both extremely exciting and also extremely frustrating at the same time. You can sit for hours and days without any activity beyond local folks chit-chatting, and then suddenly, without warning, the bands will explode and the radio you're only able to work 20 minutes ago 100 to 200 miles away with is suddenly bringing in contacts 300, 500, 1,000 miles away. My record contact is 1,743 miles in 2019. VHF and even UHF radios for FM are out there in the hundreds of makes and models and run from $100 to thousands. No matter what your budget, there's something for everyone when it comes to single sideband operation or CW. The choices, they get a little bit tighter and unfortunately more expensive. But there are economical solutions out there to fit most budgets. While budget all-mode radios tend to fall on the used side of the market, there are some very good performing radios with a lot of potential and a great way to introduce yourself to this portion of the hobby. And I can tell you that it would be the very rare individual who finds him or herself on the VHF, UHF, SSB operating and does not keep expanding the station capabilities. It is very addictive. Let's take a look at some of what your budget-minded entry-level choices are. Our first radio is the ICOM 706. This was a popular radio for both fixed station and mobile use in its day. It offered a host of features and functionalities and had a decent and capable receiver. It also offered the benefit of HF and 6 meters to the mix, with 2 meters and 70 centimeter all-mode functionality. This is probably our most economical radio, and I found them on the line ranging from just over $200 to the mid-400s. In my view, its biggest drawback is it's only 50 watts, and while you can add an external amp for 200 to 400 watts, that kind of moves you out of the realm of cost affordable with the cost of the amp. One of my favorite older radios, and by the way, my very first all-mode 2-meter radio was the Kenwood TS711. This radio's old, and if it fails for any reason, repair parts are going to require a donor radio. But that said, it has an absolutely amazing receiver that offers an outstanding level of sensitivity and can really work in some weak signal stuff. The transmit audio and signal quality is excellent. It as a rule is a very stable radio with little drift issues or distortion. The primary drawback to this radio is very low power with only 25 watts of transmit power and the fact that it's a monoband radio, which is also actually one of its strengths for performance. Today they sell for a high of $200 to mid $500 range. If you can find one in excellent condition, you'll love the radio. You will need more power, however, so 100 to 200 watt amp will need to be a priority and in your budget. One of my all-time favorite radios that I've owned and would not mind having again is the ICOM 746. Again, this radio is a shack-in-the-box style radio and offers a full 100 watts output on all bands, including 2 meters, which makes it a perfect starter rig with no extra parts beyond an antenna to purchase. It runs from the mid 400 to 700 for a good condition rig. One of the things I liked about it was its strong audio with amazing punch on FM and single sideband 2 meters. While it is a bit more pricey than some of the others, you do get a lot of radio for the money. This would be my top recommendation of all of the radios we're going to discuss today for buying a used rig. The display is excellent. It's very bright, crisp, large, easy to read. And the fact one radio will fit all your needs depending on your desires makes it a valid and strong purchase. Its only real drawback is it tops out at 2 meters and does not provide 70 centimeters of operation. But honestly, if you're just getting started in weak signal, 6 meters and 2 meters should be your focus anyway. The famous FT736R from Yaesu. This amazing radio can be found for a good price at certain times and is coming down finally in price as newer technology is really leaving it behind. But this radio was the workhorse for so many people working weak signal over the years, and it had a lot of optional modules that you could add for 220, 1296, 6 meters. Depending on the optional modules, etc., this radio, let's say it's going to run from a low of $400 to a high of $1,700 if you can get your hands on one. They're still pretty tight in demand, especially if they got the 220 and 1296 modules. It's a fantastic radio. My first 1296 and 220 single sideband contacts were actually made on my 736. Again, like many of the older rigs, the two primary drawbacks to this radio are age. Parts are darn near impossible to find, and low power output with only 25 watts. 10 watts on 1296. Now, not to get scared there, but to be honest, with a 40 element or great area antenna on 1296, 10 watts is not a drawback. I've worked 900 miles into Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, from Central Texas with 10 watts and a 45 element loop Yagi. Next radio is the Kenwood TS2000. This is my wife's KE5MHJ's favorite radio. She was very familiar with it and worked a lot of HF, 6 meters, 2 meters with this radio, plus cross-banded her HT onto it so she could take advantage of not being tethered to the radio. It's a full 100 watts on HF, 6 meters, and 2 meters with 75 watts on 70 centimeters. All modes, good receiver, excellent transmit audio. In fact, you can very much adjust the transmit audio to fine-tune it to match your voice. A lot of people complained the radio was deaf, but to be honest, I've done a lot of side-by-side comparisons, and no other radio ever pulled out a weak signal that the Kenwood could not hear. So I never felt its reputation was deserved. Part of this comes from the fact that it does require its internal preamp to be on 2 meters, and it's got a very quiet receiver. So I think that played a big role in its reputation. This radio is an absolute good buy. If you can find one that was cared for, they are more pricey than most of them, running anywhere from $700 to $1,200 used, but an outstanding purchase, especially if you happen to find the rare ones with the 1296 module. Another excellent choice is the Yaesu FT897. This is a mobile, portable, or fixed station radio, even has an optional battery supply for it. It has excellent audio, good sensitivity, and again, it's an HF 6, 2, and 70 centimeter. This radio was very popular for a number of years and has a lot of add-on options available for it out there. It was a very popular radio then, and it still retains a huge following. As such, as you're going to find prices on this radio range very wildly, from a low of $450 to a high of $1,000, depending on features and options. If you can find a well-loved one, it'll make a great radio and perform fantastic for you. And I'm not going to show a picture of this one. You can see it just about anywhere. It's still on the brand new market in current radio. And I'm going to include it because it's a very economical radio for a brand new rig, and it's a shack in the box. You can pick them up brand new, depending on sales and stuff, for anywhere of around $1,090 to $1,200. Well, I used one for a mobile in my truck for a few years, and it worked fantastic. It's been popular among a lot of folks, and has the added advantage of also adding System Fusion or C4FM to the list of modes. It's not my favorite radio to use, mostly because it's difficult to operate while mobile, which is how I used it. If I used it in as a fixed station, my opinion of it might change over time. It also has the added advantage that it's all mode, like I said, including C4, and you can pick them up 1,200 brand new from HRO or a couple other vendors like that. So they are more cost effective than some of the used ones we've listed. Plus, the added advantage of it's still manufactured, it can be repaired if anything goes wrong with it. I've seen them sell used for as low as $700 for the 991, which is the original. And if you get to 991A, you do get a mild pan adapter and a few more functionality features, but you'll be happy with the original 991. With that, let's go back to the show.
All right, so now that we're back and nobody's managed to put their segment together for this month, you guys get to see what it looks like.
Hang on, pause. Andrea's is all recorded.
Okay.
I actually saw it. It's on my computer here.
So it's Andrea's and Greg's show this month.
It's Andrea and Greg's show this month. The rest of us are slackers. How dare we?
All right, let's go ahead and bring it back to the show now. Dun, 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 dun.
All right. We hope that you guys thoroughly enjoyed all of our antics this month. And thank you to Andrea for bringing that interview to us. Hopefully we can have the favor returned, and maybe one of us will end up on Ham Nation. Although if they watch this show, that might not happen.
I would avoid that.
She did have me on her show a few months ago.
Oh, that's right. Oh, so returning the favor.
Yeah, that's why I said in the interview, it's the show's on the other foot now.
There you go. There you go. So we hope that you guys have thoroughly enjoyed our antics for this month. Sorry if it's too long. Sorry if it's too short, but here's what we've got. I can always spank the earth for you, whatever makes you happy. You know,
right.
Sometimes we have to break up the monotony. All of us, as you know, have full-time jobs, work hard, no matter what that job is. It could be retirement that turned back into a job. It could be trying not to get our houses blown up, but we all do try our very best to bring you guys some quality entertainment, whether or not it is scripted, whether or not it is something of value. We hope you do actually take something of value out of this. Next month, I hope to have my interview with Ruth done, and Melissa will have questions because you people are going to leave questions down below. So do that for poor Melissa. Send in pictures of your ham shacks, because if you don't, then beautiful Melissa has nothing to talk about. See that? Show them your background.
Even if it's you with your handheld radio, we want to see.
We want to see.
And Mike let us down.
Yeah, Mike.
It's been a whole month. So,
if you want to make #1 fan status, you know, we need that ham shack. We need those pictures. We need the write-up. We need your favorite radio. We need all that stuff. So anybody else who wants to usurp Mike as favorite, you know, best fan of our show, just get it in there, because we love when Melissa gets a chance to look over the ham shacks and gets to talk to you guys, and you're leaving her silent. So get those pictures of those ham shacks in. We want to see them. And thank you so much for joining us. Once again, thank you to our sponsors, the Hamsters Week Signal Group. Could not do it without you. And Greg, of course, who I always harass. It is now just part of the show's history that I have to harass Greg. So there you go. Love you, Greg.
Never stop. I'll think you hate me.
So,
Well, Andrea, you have a wonderful trip to New Jersey. Though I have to ask, why would anybody go to New Jersey from Texas?
right. So I will say,
over and over again.
one of these days I'm going to get to end the show. You guys hang tight. Greg's got to keep talking for a little while. All right, guys. 73 from KE0LMY, Miss Melissa.
KI5ICQ.
Miss Andrea.
Bye-bye, K2EZ.
And finally, the talk of the town, Greg.
N5XO, not blown up.
Yeah. And we will see you guys next month.
73.
7-3.